Lot, the nephew of the great prophet Abraham, was born into a time of change and challenge, a world split between faith and corruption. From his early days, Lot was known for his virtuous nature and deep belief in the oneness of God. He belonged to a lineage blessed by the teachings of the prophets, and he carried within him a divine purpose that would unfold in ways both extraordinary and tragic. Lot's story begins in the ancient Mesopotamian city of Ur, where he was raised alongside Abraham. The two shared an unbreakable bond, not only of kinship but of faith. When God commanded Abraham to leave his homeland and travel to an unknown land, Lot chose to accompany him. This journey wasn't just physical, it was spiritual, a test of devotion during a time when idol worship dominated their society. Together, they set out into an uncertain future, guided only by their trust in God's wisdom. In their travels, Abraham and Lot made their way to the land of Canaan, where God's blessings began to manifest in abundance. Their herds grew in size, their followers multiplied, and their faith only deepened. But as their wealth increased, so did the challenges that came with managing it. Disputes broke out between their herdsmen, forcing them to part ways to maintain peace. Abraham, ever the peacemaker, gave Lot the choice to select his land first. Lot chose the fertile valley near the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. The decision to settle near Sodom would mark a turning point, not only in Lot's life, but in the spiritual history of humanity. Sodom was a city consumed by sin and corruption. Its people had turned their backs on God and had abandoned all moral and ethical boundaries. Theft, deception, and most infamously, unchecked immorality spread through their society like a plague. Lot, a man of unwavering faith, was sent by God to this city as a prophet, a guide to remind its people of righteousness and to warn them of the consequences of their actions. Lot entered Sodom not as a stranger, but as a man with a mission. He preached tirelessly, calling the citizens to repentance and urging them to abandon their corrupt ways. His message was simple but profound. Believe in one God, live justly, and cleanse your hearts of sin. But his words fell on deaf ears. The people of Sodom mocked him, ridiculed him, and dismissed his warnings. They were entrenched in their ways and unwilling to change. What troubled Lot even more was their hostility toward strangers and their oppression of the vulnerable. It wasn't just morality that they had abandoned. It was all sense of humanity. Even in the face of rejection, Lot did not give up. His home became a sanctuary for travelers and strangers, a safe haven in a land where hospitality had been forgotten. But this act of kindness incited the wrath of Sodom's people. They saw Lot's generosity as a direct challenge to their way of life, and they became determined to punish him for it. Despite their increasing hostility, Lot continued to live among them, hoping against hope that they might one day heed his message. The turning point came when two angelic beings sent by God appeared at Lot's home in the guise of ordinary men. Lot greeted them warmly and invited them into his home, offering them food and shelter. But word of the visitors spread quickly through the city, and a mob gathered outside Lot's door. The crowd demanded that he hand over the strangers, their intentions vile and cruel. Lot, horrified by their behavior, stepped outside to reason with them. He begged them not to violate the sanctity of his guests, even offering his own daughters in a desperate attempt to protect the visitors. But the mob was relentless, their hearts hardened beyond redemption. At that moment, the angels revealed their true identities and reassured Lot of God's protection. They struck the mob with blindness, rendering them incapable of causing further harm. Then they delivered God's final decree. Sodom and Gomorrah's sins had reached their peak, and the time for judgment had come. The cities would be destroyed, wiped from the face of the earth as a testament to the dangers of unchecked immorality. The angels instructed Lot to gather his family and flee before dawn, warning them not to look back under any circumstances.